Hi all. Okay, only a minute or two to kick off. It was actually, I think, quite an unexpectedly exciting game yesterday. Okay, E4. Blimey, it's 1 minute to the match on my clock here. We have a Sicilian defence. Sicilian defence. Hoping it is relaying the border, just in the check. Nope. Yes. Okay, try again. Hope my connection's okay today. Should be coming up now on the preview. Let's see. Game board yet? Oh, finally. Sorry about that. Yeah, that's the danger of not starting to set up 2 minutes before. Okay. We have a Sicilian defence. Very exciting Sicilian defence. Open Sicilian. So let's just review what. So we had E4. Sicilian, knight f3, e6, open Sicilian, lower my volume a bit, and now, Maroczy bind just happened. We have the dreaded Maroczy bind. So c4 and black playing knight f6. So this is on that d5 square, binding that d5 square. Bishop b4 pinning the knight. Okay, very exciting position here. Does Vichy necessarily want to give up this bishop? His dart squares are already a bit weak. You know, when I see this move to give up this dart square bishop, I'm thinking, you know, these dart squares are pretty weak. You don't want to do this without definitely knowing what you're doing. This is, I guess, this is highly theoretical, this position, but you know, you've got to be careful about this dart square bishop. So, dreaded Maroczy bind. Okay. Right. Pause here. So just going to be starting very shortly our dual commentary. So knight c6. Whoops. Let's go back to the game. All right. Queen d3. Then knight. Oh, that's interesting. Protecting e4. Okay. And then knight c6. Let's get my breath back. I think g7 could be a target one day. Or it's a pretty sharp position. I wonder if this is deep preparation coming up in this game from Vishy. Okay, Paul's just here. Any moment. Hi, Paul.
Back in a minute.
Oh, back in a minute. Okay.
Oh, it's interesting.
Yes, it's an open Sicilian today.
Wow, okay.
Knight takes c6, yes. Okay. I'm going to take like this, I think, for d5. If we took like this... Oh, we did take like that. I was thinking it was not that bad. If the queen sunk here, this would be fine, surely. Or not. No, bishop f4 maybe, or maybe the king here. No, that should be fine. I don't think that would be white's intention. I think... interesting. Queen g3. Knight takes. There's queen g7 here. Or is this falling into horrible stuff? I mean, queen f6. Maybe we do take on d8. I'm not really sure of the theory. Does anyone know the theory of this? Interesting. Let's just review this again, shall we? Or what's going on here? f3, is that a move? Just, you know, allow the exchange. Is that another way of doing it? We keep them Roxy kind of by. I don't think it matters. These dot squares are a bit of a concern. You know, black could just play e5, and then it's white's d4 square. That's kind of weak. Whilst d5 is okay for black, you know, e5 they'll be very comfortable positionally. Maybe even just taking on c3 first.
Check.
I don't know about this diagonal. I don't think that's a big deal. So that'll be quite comfortable, I think. Yeah. Let's go back. So d takes c6. Fascinating. I wonder about a queen move. The queen could just get out of the way here. I mean, not necessarily here, because e4. What about something like queen f3 or queen e3? Is this ridiculous? If we play queen e3, we're holding e4. We're avoiding the exchange of queens. On take with the queen, we're on g7 here. I mean, this looks as though on this queen a5 check.
Check.
Now we've got to be careful. No, I don't know. All right, let's have a look at this forcing sequence. Queen takes d8 here. G5. The pin to protect that. Something like f3. I'm not really sure about that. I mean, maybe black just doubles the pawns here. If we play bishop g5, black could still just double the pawns. Fascinating imbalances. Fascinating. It's very complex, all the imbalances straight off the bat in this game. Wow. Queen c2. Atlantis. Queen c2, yeah? Queen c2. We're moving our queen again, though. Something like this. Oh, he has taken. He has taken on d8. Okay.
Check.
So queen takes d8. I'm wondering... Bishop d6 bishop d2, because I think if takes, we've got bishop g7, just about. Or not. We can castle queenside here. That'd be quite pleasant if we had this position. Surely, that'd be pretty pleasant indeed. So I wonder, bishop d2. So king takes d8, pretty forced. I think I can predict that one.
Check.
I wonder about bishop d2 here. Is that a move? This. Oh, e5. Wow. e5. This is razor sharp opening. Well, the queens have come off though. That's the bad news.
Cross a bit, yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay, I think I need to get coffee as well.
Oh, right. Okay. Go through the moves. How do we get to this position?
Yeah. Let's get. Okay. e4. We have a Sicilian descent. It's all happened in less than 9 minutes. It's like a blitz game. Knight f3, e6.
Oh, here's where he played g3, but this time he's going for the open Sicilian.
Yes. And the Maroczy bind, the dreaded.
Oh.
How do you pronounce Maroczy, Paul?
Maroczy, yeah, that'll do.
That will do, yeah. I've been picked up on that several times. Maroczy will do.
I mean, it's c4 is unusual. I think bishop d3 is the most common move in that position.
Really?
Yeah. Or knight c4 is quite committal. It's quite direct.
Strange how he'd play that. This looks already quite, quite comfortable. This, comfortable for black.
Yeah, but this is theory. Of course, black can take on c3 there, doubling the pawns.
Yeah.
But in that case, the dark squares are very weak, especially d6.
Well, I thought actually white could actually play. Sorry, if we go back here. Oh no, knight c6 anyway. Okay, so it takes. With the queen here, he just took the queens off.
It's interesting.
And I was wondering about b. I thought b takes c6 was going to be played. Isn't that familiar or not? Don't know.
I think just e5.
Oh right, e5 and that d6 square. Yeah. Okay, so that's a bit of a problem.
And then
square.
knight g4, you just play f4 and.
All right, and that's comfortable, isn't it? That's quite a bind.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So he took with the d pawn.
Check.
We have the queen's coming off, and I thought maybe bishop g5, but he played e5.
I think bishop g5. I think that's quite bad. I think black can probably just take on c3,
Check.
and then play e5 himself.
Right. Yeah.
And white's structurally compromised.
But black could also have double pawns.
Yes, but then black's got a better bishop.
All right.
And,
then this one, yeah.
Dark squares. That's definitely
b file, g file.
Yeah, but the b file's nothing. The king's on c7.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah. It'll be more. Yeah, black would be better than then. Okay.
I think e5 is positionally forced.
Positionally forced. Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. So he played e5. And let's get back to the game. So we have knight fd7. This is the.
And of course, what would happen if black had taken on c3?
Yeah.
The bishop could end up on d6.
Yeah, via this one.
Yeah.
So knight e4.
Possibly.
Maybe bishop e3 here. Possible.
Knight e4 looks a bit too aggressive to me.
Yeah. I wonder if bishop a. Oh, maybe not.
I'll probably go to d7. I mean, he could have gone to e4 anyway.
But this position, what would you do with white if he had gone to e4?
I suspect this is probably theory. Quite possibly just bishop a3.
Yeah, just giving up that pawn.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks pretty good, this diagonal. Maybe we nudge the knight first.
I mean, maybe bishop d3. I mean, that knight's. Where's that knight going?
It's got a4 though.
Yeah, but a4 is out of it. If you play bishop d3, it can't go back to e4.
Right, and if knight a4, maybe rook b1, we cut out b6.
Well, I mean,
no, you've got a point. It looks like a dangerous.
White might just castle there actually, instead of rook b1, just to.
But I'm stopping knight b6 though. Yeah, it's okay. It's a bit of an academic point.
Possibly, yeah.
But in the game, yeah, knight d7 is safer. Yeah, okay, knight d7.
I imagine this is theory, though I don't know it.
So f4, bishop f4, computer chess engines as mentioned. F4 or bishop f4.
Well, f4 seems more logical.
F4 seems more logical to you.
Yes.
Because the bishop can use this diagonal, but black's quite strong on c5 here. Isn't it relatively strong? Black can contest.
He played bishop f4. That surprises me slightly.
Yeah.
I mean, there are ideas of playing knight e4 to d6 now. If the knight isn't taken.
Now this doubling the pawns here is not such a big deal, I guess. If we double the pawns here, it's not such a big deal, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it does look quite unpleasant, right? I don't like those pawns, but presumably white's advantage in space is more important.
Yeah, so say knight c5, well...
Check.
Say we had this position, just theoretically, say we had this position.
I mean, white can play maybe...
Rook d6?
Yeah, rook d6 is certainly an idea.
Invade with rook d6.
I mean, with knight e4, I think that's too quick.
Oh, yeah.
I think rook d6, that's too...
Okay. I don't know, this might actually happen in the game, bishop takes c4. Do you think it's viable for black?
It's certainly a possibility.
Because it looks like a reasonable blockade.
Yeah.
Nimzovich.
I think one problem is look at that bishop on c8.
Yeah.
I mean, it is pretty horrible, and it's not really going anywhere either.
Yeah.
What you can do with that bishop on c8?
Yes. What are we doing with that bishop on c8? But this is a beautiful blockade. You know, Nimzovich talks about the double pawns and how his favourite blockader is the knight of double pawns. This would be a beautiful Nimzovichian blockade.
Yes, but you have to look at the other pieces as well.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I used to play a bit like that when I was 12 or 13. I used to love to swap my bad bishops.
Yeah.
And establish a knight on c4.
Yeah.
And then it suddenly occurred to me my opponent had a bad bishop, but it just landed on f6 on the king side.
Yeah.
Well, I'd achieved my strategy, but hadn't considered the overall position.
Yeah. Holistic view of the position.
Yes.
But can we? Well, maybe zigzag like this later. Well, f6 would be the question.
That's the point. f6 is going to open up the game for the bishop
on
a4.
Yeah. So this way with b6 and a5 for bishop a6 to target c4 later.
Yes.
If that's possible. I mean, let's say.
But it's going to be one piece hitting is defended anyway.
Yeah.
And by then white would have doubled on the d file.
Yes, but there's no with the c5 there. There's no major issue with d7 as an entry point. So I mean, let's just run through a scenario here.
Yeah.
Say this bishop e2. Where do you want to put this bishop? Or do you want to just double?
I'm looking. Rook d6, knight e4 is a pain again, isn't it? So
yeah. So I mean, do we want to do something about that e4?
I'd rather not play f3.
Bishop f3.
Yeah, I'll just double slowly.
Mind you, it's holding c4 at the moment.
I'll double slowly with rook d4.
Mind you, there's always knight e4 if you play rook d4.
I'm not playing rook d4.
Oh, rook d4.
Yeah,
because that's a pain, isn't it?
I'm going to double without.
Yeah, knight e4. All right, now I'll play this, and I'm going to play bishop a6.
Yes, I'll play rook d1.
Bishop a6, because I'm wondering, this knight is quite beautiful.
Yeah.
Mind you, I don't think black's going to be doing anything active after this.
I'll play bishop g5 now to stop rook d8.
To stop rook d8, okay. There's quite a bind on the d file.
It is.
But without d7 as an entry point, I'm wondering what you're doing if I play solidly here.
Well, I'm wondering what you're doing as well.
Well, I'm black, so I don't mind the draw.
Yeah.
So if you're not doing anything and I'm not doing anything, I'm happy with a draw with black. I'll play, this is like a fortress I'm setting up here. Rook d7. Oh, mind you, you've got bishop e7 on.
Well, yeah.
To take out my best piece, so I'm going to try and defend e7.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to carry on. I play king c2.
You play king c2?
Why not?
And I'm just going to shuffle here. Let's say I do nothing, as though I might be playing b5.
Yeah. Okay. So now I'll start pushing on the king side, h4.
What's the intention? Okay, I'll do this non-move. Oh, is there bishop d8?
Bishop d8 is.
I've got to be careful what I wait with. All right, let's say I don't wait with that. I'll wait with this.
It does anything, but
I'll wait with this.
So h5.
Now I don't know if I can play h6 here. It's not too much damage.
Bishop h4.
All right, I'm waiting.
Rook g4.
All right, you've got a point. You've got a point. I see it now. this could be annoying. So if I am I busted?
Bishop e7. I don't know if you're busted.
Bishop e7. Yeah, I've got to be very careful how I defend this position. Yeah, I don't want to lose my c5 knight. Let's just do a take back here. You're threatening this sort of stuff, and you've also got bishop e7. Yeah, there's a lot of. It's fascinating how the double pawns. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Well, the key thing is white's advantage in space.
And the dark square pressure is actually quite a nuisance here. Yeah. So yeah, these double pawns, they look wretched. So that would be a very committal decision to double the pawns here. Very committal long-term decision.
Yes, you see, really only white can win this kind of position.
Yeah, because black's not doing anything in particular.
No.
Any b5 break is just going to help white's 6th rank. Maybe just take and then rook d6, and we've got targets potentially.
Well, I think b5, I'd actually ignore it.
Or you could just undouble the pawns. It's not really something black wants to do particularly.
But it does also loosen the knight on c5 as well. So it's really quite a tricky game. Go back to yesterday's game. You want to go back to yesterday's game briefly? It seems from what I've read that our suggestion of rook a4, you remember rook a4, was correct and gave white quite good chances. And made a mistake with rook b7, which just allowed a liquidation to a draw.
Right.
So the move we suggested, rook a4, did give quite good chances. So in the last two games, Vichy has actually failed to take advantage of all its opportunities.
I don't think it was winning. I analysed it just briefly earlier. I thought it was just I thought black was still okay.
No, I mean maybe he wasn't winning, but you'd have to take, do the best, play the best moves, try and get the best chance of actually winning. Yeah. And he missed opportunities in the last two games to put pressure on Carlsen.
Yeah.
So it's still very finely balanced. But I do think he has two whites in a row now. If he doesn't win either of these games, then it could become very interesting indeed. Don't you think?
Yeah, I mean,
you have three whites in the last 5 games.
This is some sort of structural long-term gambit that he's judging. It's on judgment that this sort of plan. That's a very interesting plan. I mean, just this h pawn and rook d4. It's very interesting how the rook can swing across and target g7, which is a dark square as well. It's very nice.
Well, it's about advantage in space, isn't it? I mean, also rook f4 is also a problem as well in this kind of position.
Yeah. So yeah, it's quite a committal decision. I think we're just emphasising it's a very committal decision to double these pawns. If bishop takes c3 is played here, we could be looking at a nightmare scenario. I don't know how realistic this is, but it seems pretty. If we had this, it looks as though all chances are with white.
And of course, if black opens up the game, then the two bishops come into play.
Yeah. Interesting. So Vichy's given this a long thing. So instead of taking here, what are the possibilities though? He wants to keep his dark square bishop, but that d6 will be a problem.
It's a problem, isn't it?
That d6 seems very, very sensitive.
I'm wondering if this is theory, because again it's looking rather good for white. I imagine white castle queenside next anyway against most moves. Then basically black will have the choice whether to take that knight or not. If he doesn't take it, it looks like it's heading for d6.
Yeah. Oh right, yeah. If they say the bishop moved back,
he's taken. I think he has to. I mean, the knight on d6 is just going to be crunching, isn't it?
Let's see. Ruin our little masterpiece there. We had say move the bishop back. Then we castle. We've got knight e4 to d6. Sorry, knight e4 to d6. We're going to torture that d6 square. So okay. So
I like the way that Magnus thinks for about 10 seconds before playing b takes c3. Just considering king d1 and king e2.
maybe he's just gauging
Yeah.
the emotional reactions of
Yeah.
Vichy to see how comfortable. Yeah, I mean, it looks as though Black's got a lot of dark square weaknesses and has just given up his dark square bishop.
I mean, but in amateur chess, we don't waste time, do we, thinking about b takes c3. You just go take it straight off.
Oh, I like to. So King c7.
King c7. Yeah, I think King has to go to c7.
Okay, so that sort of portrayal that we've just shown is very interesting. I mean, where else would the knight go except for c5? It seems such a logical place, especially if you're a fan of Nimzovich, to put the knight, blockading the double pawns. Where else would you put the knight in this particular position? Seems the only sensible place, really. No?
I mean, he could manoeuvre it around to c6 if he plays c5, but
very, very good, yeah. Because d5 might not be a problem. So c5.
Yeah.
All right. So say we do this c5.
I'm not convinced though, but
because actually then we could also put the bishop like this. Yeah.
And possibly the knight can go to a5. And basically the pawn will have to go to a4, and the knight can go to a5, bishop to a6. It's a bit of a fantasy line, but
all right. Let's have a look at this idea and this construction. So, what would you play here with white against c5?
I'll play bishop can come to e4 maybe, but maybe bishop b7 is fine. So I'll play bishop e2.
Right, so we'll play this bishop f.
I'll play rook d6 here.
Yeah.
No
So
need
knight
to,
c6.
Rook, and it's controlling e7 as well. Yeah, we stopped and you stopped rook d4. So rook hd1.
All right. Now we can't play this because there's something like this.
Check.
Bang.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's pretty nasty. Yeah,
Check.
definitely not. So you have to waste a tempo playing rook somewhere.
Well, we could we play knight a5 to get out of the way of that? This is not terminal, is it? For black?
Well, I mean, and the idea is I wanted to put the bishop on a6, so I wanted to put the black pawn on a4 first.
All right.
Which is pretty slow, though, isn't it?
Okay. Or, I mean, yeah, I suppose if we do this, there's always rook d7. I mean, if we move the bishop there, there's always going to be rook d7, though.
Yeah, it's very slow, Yeah, but again,
What do we do about this bishop? Yeah, this is a bit of a pain.
Yeah, this is the problem, isn't it? Black, it's just too slow.
Yeah.
This knight b8 idea just doesn't seem to be...
In fact, if we don't play rook d8 here, then we might never... Well, it might be trickier later if we don't play rook d8.
Yeah, I think maybe you have to play rook d8.
It doesn't lose anything here because there's b takes. But
Okay.
bishop f3 is pretty nasty.
Probably move bishop h5.
Or even bishop f3 takes and takes here to deflect the king.
Yeah.
That's pretty...
There's bishop d7 now.
Oh, bishop
Going to
d7.
e8.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
I like bishop h5 instead.
Well, bishop g5 here. Hang on, bishop g5 is a cruncher, isn't it?
Oh, it is. That's... Oh, dear. Yeah.
Hmm. Oh man, the pieces are more important than the pawns, huh?
It's about space, isn't it?
Well, and the pieces.
Yes, I mean, but Black doesn't have the capacity to organise his pieces. And there's an outpost on d6.
I don't know if that plan was totally, crushing, but I think we have to put the knight on c5. Let's put the knight on c5. Let's go with that again. So you're saying rook d4, yeah?
I'll play bishop e2 first.
Bishop e2, you don't mind knight e4 here? We're hitting f2 and c3.
I mean, can you really get away with that? Where's that knight going? Okay, let's say we play rook d4 now.
Alright, I can't take on f2. That seems clear enough because you'll trap my knight. If I take on c3. Oh, he's gone with your h4, h5 plan.
He's playing h4 immediately.
Yeah, he's going with that plan. But here, I mean, I think this is okay. If the knight hits...
Yeah, this is not working.
I think you need to play rook d4 on the event of knight c5. And then, so you stop this knight e4 business.
Yeah, I think so. I think rook d4 is correct, yes.
Okay, let's go back to the game though. So he seems... But he's not even ready for rook d4 now. So knight c5... Mind you, he can always play f3 here. f3?
Well, he's not going to play f3. I mean, knight c5, what is just... Okay, I mean, but knight e4 is no good unless it forks something.
Well, once we castle, it's good here.
Yeah, but maybe white's not going to castle.
Yeah.
I mean, castling is a natural move, but he's played h4.
Alright.
So I think he can now carry on with...
just h5 or something?
Yeah, h5.
So you wait for knight e4, what, you just play rook c1 or something?
Yeah, if knight c4, rook c1, then he can just play bishop d3, hitting it, or f3.
I see. So he's just going for your h4, h5 plan, just gain space.
Possibly. Well, he may follow up just with rook h3.
Yeah, and we can target g7 like that.
Which, of course, the rook h3 also defends the
There's knight e4s though.
Rook h3 also defends c3 as well.
Oh, rook h4 to g4.
Yeah, or no, yeah, but when the rook's on h3 pawn.
Oh yes. But there's always knight e4 nudging the rook, hitting c3. Oh, what, rook e3?
Well, it's not hitting the rook's on h3.
No, if we move it to g3 later. Oh, I see. Rook. Okay.
Yeah, we play rook g3 to encourage a weakness with g6, don't we?
Yeah.
I mean, if the rook's on g3, knight e4, rook takes g7, it's not going to be good for black.
No. Okay, so this b6 has been played. Has he got time for this?
I think he probably has now that white hasn't played his rooks to the d file.
Where's that? So that bishop's really going to be on b7 here.
Of course, the other possibility, the h4, may just be with the idea of doubling with rook h3 to d3.
Yeah, so he could still castle here. Yeah, and we have this position. But he hasn't committed to knight c5 yet. So any rook, he waits maybe for knight c5 because rook d4 there's maybe c5, bishop c6. So what about in this position? Okay, what does black do? Maybe black wants
well, after
to...
rook d6, knight c5, then our bishop's still on f1, isn't it? Okay. Yeah, maybe. But I don't think he's going to castle. I think he's played h4, so that means he's not going to castle immediately. He's reserving his options. So I think he's more likely to play h5 now or rook h3.
Yeah. Let's say rook h3.
He could still castle as well.
I wonder if he wants to play h5 actually, because maybe it's desirable for black to play h5 because it's away from the dark square bishop.
Yeah, but he's going to leave f7 very weak because, I mean, g6 is going to be played soon. And then with the rook on f3 hitting f7, how are you going to defend f7?
Okay, so I played g6 then. How are you getting... Oh, he has played h5. I wonder if he had a faint concern that h5 might be tenable. He wanted to play that.
I mean, but the problem is f7 becomes very weak. Even more so than previously, because bishop h6 can hit the rook that's defending it on f8.
Oh, right, I see what you mean, yeah. So that kind of construction with h5, there's bishop h6 is for f7. I see what you mean. Unless, you know, e5 might be an issue there, but yeah, I see it in principle. But this one looks interesting. So is h6 actually a positional threat, or is just the idea, not really, just here maybe?
I mean, white has options, and white can play h6, or...
yeah. I don't think you'd want to, because then g6, and then we haven't got the h6 square.
Yeah, then you've got the h6 square. I mean, but it's just to be borne in mind.
I think that's pretty solid for black. This position here is pretty solid, isn't it? Surely. Because these are all away from the dark square bishop now.
It is reasonably solid. It's solid to a degree. But still, bishop can land on e7.
Yeah, the dark squares are... yeah.
But of course, then there's the e5 pawn maybe on prees in some positions. Or maybe not.
I don't think he wants to play h6. I think more he's giving his rook some extra options to target g7. It's a classic weakness in the French defence lines, the g7, isn't it really? When black gives up the dark square bishop, the g7 pawn on a dark square. It's a classic weakness to attack, and it's got a bit of a French defence feel to it, with these pawns on light squares. I think white would also be tempted in castling though as well. I don't think that's particularly. It seems pretty logical and nifty to just castle to get the rook, potentially on d6. But I like this is like Towel sort of manoeuvres in that first game of 1960 match, getting the rook out like this.
I imagine that Carlsen will castle queenside fairly soon, because I mean the rook on a1. Where else is it going to go apart from d1? And the king is better on c1, than it is on e1.
Yeah,
because it can defend the queenside pawns. So I think what Carlsen will simply castle in the next few moves.
It's so overall you favour white here. You think white's got some serious winning chances from this position, yeah?
I wouldn't like black's position.
So you definitely favour white. You think?
Yes. I feel quite uncomfortable. Being crammed like that.
Yeah. So even though you've inflicted structural damage, a lot of us would be tempted for the structural damage. Especially.
Well, of course, at h6, the thread's stronger than the execution. White can hold back. And play it later, unless black stops it with h6 himself.
That's pretty committal, actually. For the dark square bishop. Once we get in this sort of stuff. But I really think this one. I don't know if f3 that really doesn't mean we can't double later. So I really don't like the idea of playing f3 to control e4. I'd rather
in this position rook g3 is just a very good move.
All right, we don't mind this position.
Yeah. Oh, I don't like that position very much. Thanks.
No. No, you're right. Rook g3 here, and if here we've actually got bishop takes h6.
Exactly. Yes.
And if here, I think we
just
just
take on g7.
Yeah.
That's the end of that game.
We've got this past h pawn after that. Very annoying. Yes, rook g3. So rook h3 is actually seems very strong.
h6 and rook h3.
Yeah.
And black's already being seriously threatened with losing his kingside pawns.
And the game basically. So h6 doesn't seem great.
No. So the white's reserved the chance to play h6 at a later point.
Yeah.
Of his choosing.
It has got an unfortunate French defence filled to the position, but with white having that peculiar structural damage. Knight c5 immediately. Let's say knight c5 immediately.
Okay, then I still like just rook h3.
Okay, rook h3 here even.
Yeah, maybe rather than castling, just directly going for those kingside pawns.
So you don't mind knight e4 here? This one. Maybe in this position there's bishop. Maybe there's bishop d3 here.
95. I'm going to rook e3.
Oh, just rook e3. Just kick it.
Yeah.
And you get a time.
Just a waste of a move.
You get a time, yeah. Okay. Yeah, you just kick it back and gain that time. So knight c5. Yeah. We just play rook h3. I almost thought of a joke there in the back of my. I don't know if I was going to mention it or not. Like the Carlsberg advert is the beer that refreshes the parts that your beers don't reach.
Yes.
Carlsberg refreshes.
Yeah.
Looks at parts of the board that the other grandmasters don't reach.
They've already done that. Have you seen? It says Carlsen, probably the best chess player in the world.
Right. Yeah. It's a good one. Yeah.
I didn't make that up.
Reaches parts of the board other grandmasters don't reach.
Yes, brilliant. If that's possible. I think grandmasters have reached all parts of the board, really, but
yeah,
but why not?
I think statistically, I think Tau must have won more games on f7 than other squares of other grandmasters. Do you think?
The 19th century guys probably won.
Oh, on f7.
Yeah.
The board's name Morphe. Yeah.
All the time.
But g7 here is a classic weakness in French defence Vinoir. How do you say that? Vinoir variations.
Everyone calls it the winnower. I think it's Vinover, isn't it?
Yes.
But everyone calls it winnower.
I like saying winnower because I think there's optimism that you're going to win the game. You know, winnower, you're going to win the game. It gives you that optimism. You know,
you're going to winnower the game.
And I've actually done well with the winnower variation. So this element of psychology, yes, might be important to me. I'm going to play the winnower today. I'm going to win with the winnower. Yeah.
Fischer thought it just lost. Fischer just thought giving up that bishop on c3 just weakened the dark squares too much. Yeah,
the dark squares are pretty weak in this game actually, more evidently than other games. Do you not think? This is more evidence. This is more of a clear-cut square strategy in this game. You know, the dark squares being evidently weak.
I mean, the dark squares are weak, but white can end up winning a pawn on the light squares.
Oh no. You're not going to start munching, are you, Paul?
Go away.
No, I'm just going to get a coffee while you do that. Oh, sorry, hold on a sec. Hold on. I need to recharge my coffee. Oh, wait, there's a move. Oh, blimey, we didn't expect that, did we?
He's played h6.
No, rook h3. Oh, no, I don't believe this. I think rook h3 is really good.
He's probably got some idea behind it.
There must be a fantastic idea behind it, which we haven't spotted. Oh, is it rook h7, Paul? We didn't spot rook h7.
Well, then bishop d3 hits it.
No, we can't play bishop d3 because the knight holds.
Okay, but you have to play knight. You have to play knight c.
So you play knight c5 here. I play this. How do you break this?
Wow. Look at that rook on h7. It's ridiculous.
No, but I can't see anything else because it's the only legal move. You know, what's that? If you rule out the possible, you're left with the impossible. I mean, this is not possible, right? It's not possible.
No, if you rule out the improbable.
If you rule out
the impossible.
All right, the improbable.
Then whatever's left, however improbable, must be the truth.
Yes. So rook h7. This is what we're left with.
Look at that rook.
I know. It looks awful, but how does white actually double rooks here? I mean, how is he going to double rooks? What was he going to go like this?
Maybe he can reroute the bishop on f1 to c2. So say bishop e2.
Yeah, but now we are actually threatening knight e4.
Well, it's not really a threat.
Oh no, all right.
I play rook g4.
Rook g4. You're going to give up your c3 pawn.
Yeah.
Really?
You're going to take it? Bishop d3?
Oh yes, bishop d3. Yes. Okay.
Give up your king side.
No.
All of it.
No. Okay. So bishop e2. What are you going to do? Oh, you're just going to do this.
Yes.
I see. That's a pretty cunning plan, which does cast some doubt on rook h7.
You can actually bring the other rook across.
As soon as you play it, no, I haven't got knight d3 or anything.
You can bring the other rook across, bishop d7,
yes,
bishop d1, and then bring it across to g8.
Oh, just in time for g7.
Yeah, so now bishop c2, rook goes back to h8.
And we're still holding there on that side. Just about.
Yeah. It's on the passive side, but it does appear to be holding.
In fact, h5 might be loose here. We can play this. We can get the king out of the way, and then we can play later f5.
I doubt it.
I'm just kidding. No, this is pretty passive. This is just to get a fortress. Okay.
Oh, he's played Kingscrusher instead. Interesting.
He's wondering where this rook's going to go. Maybe. Or this knight. Isn't the knight going to commit to c5? The rook to h. You know, is that going to commit anywhere? It doesn't. I think knight c5. I think we need knight c5 unless the knight can't be seriously considering anything else, can it? Knight f8 to h7 to g5. I don't think so. I think the knight 5. Okay. Bishop b7. Oh, okay. He
Might
hasn't
be
played.
played.
Maybe d5 then.
Well, he's waiting to see. He's retaining his options, isn't he? I mean, if you know where you want to put one piece, and you don't know where you move the piece that you know where you want to put it first.
Right. All right. So say we play rook h3 here. What's happening here?
Well, now there's time to string the other rook across the g8, but it's
The other one's g8.
not now, maybe next move. But
Just say for now. So I wonder about this d file. Doesn't do anything though, does it? This d file. It doesn't matter if we double go to d6. Yeah, this is solid. The d file, solid enough.
it's hard for white to break through.
In fact, I do wonder about this bishop here on this diagonal. I mean, something like g6 might not be totally out of the question later. To try and, mind you, I suppose g3 and we've got permanent h6 weakness. No, we can neutralise that g file. We don't ever want to play g6.
I can't see how black can go active.
No, just to end up with a chronic h6 weakness liability. Forget g6. I'm going to take that arrow off. I need a tea. I'm just going to grab a tea. Yeah. Okay. Back in a moment.
Okay.
If I want to synchronise the board, just this button. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Like here, you can just click this one.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I know that.
Okay.
Great.
Happening here.
One idea I have noticed, I played rook d3 before knight c5. There is a possibility of swinging the rook across to g3,
Yeah.
and then the other rook to g4.
Oh, like this. It's a double.
Doubling in front of the g4.
Yeah. So knight c5, rook here. And we might actually want to play f3 in that scenario here to have not have the nuisance, though, or is not a big problem here.
I don't know.
If we play f3, is that terrible?
Cut off the rook. It's rather.
Weakens d3 permanently. Yeah, maybe black can. I don't know how black's in the binds though. So white surely is positionally threatening this.
Maybe it's just the queen's rook cut off on g3 looks rather odd. Maybe it's good.
Let's see. Because if we play this, then knight e4 is a nuisance, right? Am I overestimating? Maybe just. I don't know about knight g5 there. c5.
Knight takes f2 just loses the knight, doesn't it? Yeah.
Knight takes f2, loses the knight.
Yes.
So
Bishop g3.
not here. Knight d3, bishop g3. No, we don't want to get involved in that. I'm just wondering about what about c5 here.
Where's that knight going? Presumably it's going to g5. Okay, so say bishop d.
That's pretty annoying. Yeah, knight g5.
You can take on f2, but I think you're going to lose a knight in the long run. I think the knight's going to get trapped. Bishop c2.
Well, we've got bishop takes g. Are we going to end up losing a piece here? No, we can't get involved in that. It looks terrible. Yeah.
So you have to go to g5. And now, just rook g4.
That probably loses.
And now I'd rook across to g3.
Yeah.
It's all falling apart.
So I'm wondering about this f3 basically. If this is an argument for f3. Oh no, we don't need f3. Sorry.
Yeah, we just avoided playing f3.
Yeah, we just did. Yeah. So possible. Yeah. Wow, what a plan! Pretty radical stuff.
It's unusual to double and
He's taken away that c5.
Right. So now the knight is not coming to c5, probably ever.
See, that's modern chess for you. See, Nimzovich followers would have routinely sometimes just put the knight on c5. Isn't that modern chess playing the position? Huh?
Yes, but doesn't white now have more of a free hand? Just to play rook g3 and etc. This seems very, very smooth. Surely. What happens after rook g3?
Rook g3.
Bishop can now just come to d3 whenever it wants. So
Yeah.
rook h7 is out.
Yes.
So we're just going to. You have to defend with rook on g8 and then just rook h4.
Yeah. Rook h4.
No.
No?
No, I was just thinking maybe black's bishop can come to e4 in some lines, but it doesn't seem
Oh,
to.
not there.
Doesn't seem to do anything. Just take on h6. I mean, it's a possibility that's been introduced, but I'm not sure it does very much.
Okay, let's go back.
So why is this not just completely winning?
It's pretty dangerous, isn't it? It is. Oh my word! We've got very dangerous possibilities here, haven't we? If needed, you know, if rook h7, we've got bishop d3.
It's just horrible, isn't it?
It does look pretty bad, doesn't it? For counterplay stuff. White has more space.
Well, I mean, White is using the space advantage to attack pawns and just threaten to win material.
It's a little bit like your simulation that you demonstrated, yeah, with the h4, h5 plan.
Yeah, I mean, what can actually happen, which doesn't particularly apply here necessarily, but by attacking like this, White can force Black to make concessions, and the game opens up for the bishops, and then different type of game emerges. Okay, he's played rook across to g8.
And okay, let's say we do this one.
First play bishop d3 rather than rook h4.
It must be better than rook h4 for some reason, or
Maybe
multiple reasons.
It's stopping bishop e4, but I don't see it. Bishop e4 is a problem.
Wow,
No,
grim, huh?
maybe it just looks horrible. I mean, maybe bishop d3 is okay. So what are you going to do? You can't move. I mean, Black has no active moves, unless he wants to play knight b8 to c6. But
it's pretty horrible. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not tactically infused by Black's position. In fact, I had one horrible season, I think 2 years back, where I lost many games in the French defence. Sometimes you just don't get much counterplay from the French defence. You know, these passive positions where the opponent's got a space advantage.
I always said I don't think the French is really suited to your style.
Yeah, I think you're right. I had much more success with the Sicilian last year.
Yeah, I think Sicilian is more your kind of thing.
So maybe I thank you for my peak ECF rating 212. Well, overtaking you for that one occasion I've overtaken. I think I'll be going back down though, because I've been playing all these 200s every single match.
You've overtaken me before.
not on the classical.
Yeah. When I went down to 173 that year.
What year was that?
It was 94, wasn't it?
Blimey. You went down to what happened to you? Did you get?
I don't know. You were really happy about that.
What year? Sorry,
1994. I think
94.
And there was another year you were slightly ahead of me. I think I was in the low 190s and you were about 3 or 4 points higher.
I wasn't aware of this. Blimey.
Well, you were at the time because you kept telling me.
Oh dear.
You shouldn't be competing with me. You should just compete to get the highest standard possible.
I don't care about. I think the rating is a side effect of your strategies and tactics. I think people are too obsessed by ratings. It's a vanity measure.
I think I agree. There's too much obsession with.
Yeah. I want to elevate, my understanding of the game. I mean, I thought I had a reasonable, concept in weakness to the last move, for example.
Yeah.
and some interesting videos and examples, and it seemed convincing enough. But I think now that actually as well as the controlling of squares, you've got to look if you're creating unprotected pieces more, and from your last move, there's multiple weaknesses in the last move. These things are multiple perspectives.
I remember one time my rapid grade was going to go over 220, which would have been the only time I've ever been over 220 on any list.
Fantastic.
If I didn't play any more games. But there was a tournament right at the end of the season. I wanted to play in it. So I thought, well, I'd rather play chess than just not play chess this weekend.
Yeah.
Just to get a rating of 222.
Yeah.
So I played in it, did pretty badly, and didn't go over 220.
I know some people consider, it's a double-edged sword, that FIDE rating system. It might actually demotivate playing activity when people start protecting their ratings.
Well, it wasn't a FIDE tournament; it was just a rapid play.
But even online ratings, people are not playing people on online servers because they want to protect their ridiculous, rating. It's like they're playing less.
Well, on your
no, not just on my on Blitz sites in particular. They start playing less for this online rating,
which is meaningless, and they've got anonymous handles. No one even knows who they are. So I mean, why do they care? Just so they can go to bed at night and think, "Hey, I'm 2900."
Yeah.
Even though I'm using a computer.
Yeah, I know it's a bit sad. It can stimulate activity, I think, but it can also destimulate content activity.
I've got a semi-sensible move for black, which is play king c8, which is just to get the king off that diagonal.
Oh, hold on. Now that you mentioned the king, though, I've just thought of a plan. Yeah. Oh, knight f8.
Knight f8.
Okay. I think I kind of... Maybe something like this. Is that the idea?
Look at those guys on the king side.
All right, so we play this.
H8 and g8, the power of the rooks.
Yeah.
Rook h4.
No, do this.
Just rook g4.
Yeah. And here's the cunning plan about to be unveiled. Yeah. Are you?
Okay, I'm waiting.
Yeah, you're waiting for it, are you?
Is it resigns?
It's pretty bad, isn't it? Actually, I can't believe this position.
Maybe I presume he's planning to play g5 or g6 somehow or other.
Yeah, it's not this, because there's all sorts of tactics that just win material here. Yeah. G6, then H6 is weak. Oh no, I think
well, my idea with playing the king back to c8 was that in a position.
Playing king c8.
And then when black can play g6, then if h6 drops, at least you get the pawn on e5.
Oh right, you're getting out of this.
There's no pin.
Out of this, yeah.
I know it's not much of an idea, but it's something. That's what I was thinking of.
And what about this ridiculous idea, king d8? Oh, and let's go back to the game anyway. So the bishop dropping back here. Oh, he's going to... Wow.
What's wrong with rook h4 to g4?
This is highly unexpected, isn't it? Oh, he's threatening now rook f3, isn't he? Isn't that the new threat?
Rook f3 is certainly now on the cards. But no, it's not. Bishop takes it.
Oh yeah, sorry. If the bishop wasn't there, mate. Yeah.
I don't understand bishop e3. What's wrong with rook h4?
No, actually, then he's threatening this. Pardon me. He's threatening this, as well as rook g4, rook f4. How would we defend f7 in that scenario? If the rook came to f4.
Yes, but what's wrong with rook h4? It just looked winning to me.
Well, it makes rook h4 even more significant potentially.
Well, yeah, but why not just play rook h4 instead of bishop e3?
Yes, that is a good question.
I mean,
what was the engine choice here, out of interest? f3. Then why didn't it think much of rook h4? Oh, hang on. What's this g5 business? g5.
Right, but maybe. So yeah.
Not so easy, huh?
No, maybe.
We don't want to lose a piece. Yeah, it's all on the tactics of the position, the individual position. Though. Wow, so that's legitimate. The answer.
So knight f8 prepares g5.
Fantastic. So Magnus's move is much stronger than we have to say. Anything stronger than rook h4 there. It gets out of the way of g5 as that forcing move. Gets out of the way. So are we now again threatening then rook h4 to this?
Yeah, also white can play f4 and f5.
And also f4 for f7.
f4, f5 isn't
and
it?
f4, f5. Oh right, yeah. Not entirely. Or with f6 on the cards. I think.
Well, it's an idea, isn't it?
And now g5 doesn't have bite here, surely, because does it? Can we take?
We just take it. I think we can just.
All right, build up on h6 slowly, maybe. Oh, that protects here and it helps build up. So that would be pretty good. Let's turn it off now. Too clever, these engines. They look at millions of positions to embarrass us. There was tons of positions, I bet. Behind the scenes there was like millions of positions to make that that sequence. No, but Vichy had that in mind, that g5 is a fantastic resource. So it seems as though Magnus has stepped out of g5.
Yeah, this is why the knight didn't go to c5, it's going to f8 to defend. But still, look at those pieces on the king side. Visually,
yeah, it looks as though there's problems visually. But can we actually prove this? Are we going to prove this? It still seems now this is promising stuff without the g5 business, naughty business. I think this really explains. When I'm playing blitz and I'm more awake, like with T, you get to see these tiny finesses, and they really affect positions dramatically. If you're a little bit more alert, I think when you're say playing blitz, it makes a big difference. Have you noticed that?
Well, I mean, one move can change the whole game.
Yeah. So you think caffeine and blitz, they work well together generally?
I don't know. I've never really tried it.
Yeah, like one little nuance, g5 ruins the whole thing there. Does it actually ruin the whole thing? I mean, visually, yeah, we thought this is so natural, but g5 ruins the whole thing. It is a forcing move. I mean, we need to examine forcing moves. And it just leads to another,
Yeah, but the problem is that the knight on g6 forks the bishop and rook.
Yeah. You can't underestimate these forcing moves. They're incredible, really. It's like the magic of chess in these forcing moves.
So what happens now if you play rook? Rook g4, you can just take on f4. Yeah, it's rook.
Yeah. Because d3's hanging.
Because d3 is on, please.
Oh, blimey.
Check.
That's incredible.
That's not the way Carson...
then we take here, and then we take on e5.
Winning for black.
Yeah. These forcing moves, amazing. So that bishop e3, sense of danger with the g5 business. Incredible move, bishop e3.
It's obvious, really. Now you actually look at it concretely.
Yeah.
Just rook h4, g5, and it leads to a forced sequence. And
when you say concretely, do you mean the analysis of forcing moves?
Yes.
People throw that term around a lot. I notice in commentaries. I'm wondering, should I be using that term more?
Rather than h4, g4 wins. Actually, look at black's.
Oh, concretely with evidence. In other contexts, you'd say with evidence, with concrete evidence.
Yeah, but look at black's responses. And,
yeah.
So bishop e3 and.
So bishop e3, amazing. Well, now that you see that the g5. Okay, so it's still in theory. Vichy's fantastically resourceful, though, you've got to say, for this position to have this very peculiar looking configuration. But the bishop doesn't seem to be, it's a breeze for the bishop. This position, it seems okay.
Well, it's got an open line. It's not really doing anything on it, but it's got an open line.
Oh, by the way, thank you all. I started this support the channel link, and many of you donated. So I'm really flattered by all the support to the channel, and I think I've got some blitz videos scheduled at one a day, but I think I'm really going to head for 2 a day in about 20 days time after the current schedule, or maybe even before. So I've got lots of blitz videos, exciting ones scheduled. Because another reason for that, I wanted to do more serious game analysis like master games and stuff as well. So I wasn't sure about the level of blitz that should be on the channel as well, because the over the board season as well, and I wanted to post over the board games. But there is a lot of fun in the blitz stuff, and I think 2 a day, is quite fun to try and get back to. And so thank you all for your support. From that support the channel video. I really appreciate it. Yeah. Yeah. It's the support the channel link on. If you go to youtube.com Kingscrusher, it's the there's this thing on there, support the channel. It works with PayPal. Yeah.
Something just occurred to me, possibly. If now black places king across to e7,
Yeah.
there's possibilities with white switching the rook across to b1. I mean, black can defend with knight d7, but it's
yeah.
But you have to bear that in mind.
This would be another weakness.
If everything goes over to the king side, then white can switch to the queen side. Which is another point about space advantages. With space advantage, you can transfer your pieces from one area of the board to the other with greater speed.
Oh, by the way, Michael from Chess Club on Chess Club on Facebook has been helping promote videos on the channel, and they've also featured a link to this. So thank you, Michael, for Chess Club Live support. That's really cool as well. Thank you very much for that. I think chess on Facebook's getting, quite popular. There's a lot of groups and stuff, pages on Facebook. You don't go on Facebook, do you, Paul?
No. I have better things to do.
Paul, out of interest, you don't want to do a Michael Caine impression today, do you? Not even the Doors one. Oh, just
I
once.
thought we weren't going to mention that again.
Oh, sorry. Okay, yeah. So, King C2, yeah. Idea, double league. I'm not trying to avoid desperately laughing out loud from any comments. I just assure everyone of that. So G6.
You've gone straight for G6.
G6.
Okay, well, why does this not lose a pawn? Maybe the bishop gets G2 at the end. Okay, let's just look at it. Okay, so we take it.
Yeah, knight takes. We're on E5 actually.
Yes, but that's not so good because you get into a pin.
Well, how'd you get into pin? Sorry.
Okay, so rook takes H6.
Oh, okay. Takes here. We're on the bishop.
So
Doesn't look too hot.
bishop F4.
Oh, that pin. Oh, I see. Bishop F4. That's the one you were going on about. King D6. Is that terrible? Is that losing? I'm just wondering if that's losing. Oh, just rook E3. Just rook E3. Just rook E3.
No, black can take on take on h6 if you do that.
Oh yes, that's a good nuance to spot. Yeah, I need to finish the rest of my tea to spot these nuances, I think. Yeah, so that pin's pretty bad. Actually, there's rook h5. Okay, we take here first, and then we've always got rook h5 to defend here, as well as f6 now.
Well, how about rook g7?
Rook g7.
It's rather unpleasant.
Look here. There's g4. No, it's unbearable, that pin. I don't want this pin anymore. Enough of this pin business.
Okay,
so you played this.
Yeah.
So yeah, knight e5 just goes into the pin. Can we get out of the pin in advance?
Oh, well, you've got no advance. So.
Oh yeah. No, hang on. No, it's not wise. I've just taken here.
Yeah. Okay, but now you're a pawn down.
Okay.
It's better move getting out of the pin.
I'm
going to win another pawn.
I take here and I'll play king e7. And now it might be opposite coloured bishops if you do take on g6.
I'm not going to take on g6. I'm just going to play f4.
f4. Okay, we've got knight e7. Is that totally lost? Knight e7. It's pawn down. Right, things happening over here. But is this totally lost?
I would have thought so.
Would you want to exchange your rooks there?
Yeah, exchange your rooks.
What, bishop g5?
Oh no, we've got two pawns on pre, so don't do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so do something else. Hold on. Yeah, maybe just bishop g5 to start.
Bishop g5. Okay. And that looks to be a solid pawn up, so I don't think we can do this. But okay, there's game continuation. So hg.
And you have to take with the knight, don't you? Take with the pawn is just.
So we definitely want to take the rook. We definitely want to do that, yeah.
Yeah, otherwise you get into a pin yourself.
Yeah, that's not a particularly hot pin, is it? So we can do something like knight f4 there.
Knight takes e5 is now perfectly possible, even though it's unpinning.
Or this even, just
Rook takes rook. No.
Oh, rook takes rook. All right, knight takes e5 would be possible here.
But still, this rook takes.
Oh, we're going to be taking here. That should be okay for black. We're going to be taking there with check.
Yeah, that should be okay.
So I think. So actually, let's just rule out FG here for a moment.
Well, it's just so hopeless, isn't it? Sticks with a rook.
Yeah, that's pretty hopeless. There's no prospect there. So we take here. We take this. We're agreed on taking this.
Yeah, I think so.
This is all happening really quick. This game. It's like a rapid game today. There's a feeling it's going super quick.
It's an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It's interesting that he's thinking when really there's nothing to think about. I mean, knight takes pawn is the only move.
That's what separates you from these super GMs. They're looking at all these, because 1 in every 1,000 there's going to be on the move, even there.
Yeah. But, okay. What other move is there?
In this particular position, I'm not sure. There might not be another move.
Because you have to capture, don't you? If you take with the rook, you just lose the exchange.
Yes.
Take with
It
the
looks
pawn.
as though, so you're convinced knight takes g6, yeah.
Well, I just cannot see another sensible move.
engine check. Needs to play knight takes g6. Does not bother engine checking. So we're saying rook takes h6 looks promising because of this pin that would be invited here in some of the variations. Maybe take first and then bishop f. No, bishop f4 immediately. No,
rook takes h6, knight takes c5, bishop f4 immediately.
But then we've got no. We haven't got takes here because we've got takes there, right?
No, the rooks are opposing, and white gets an extra knight.
You've got a point here, Paul. You're pretty good with your pins, I think. Yeah?
I am.
h5. Wow. Let's see just briefly what the engine thought of this position if it was thinking about rook h6.
Have we missed something?
No, the engine is rook h5. Magnus is like the engine, rook h5.
So, I've got rook takes h6 then.
Then he takes e5.
Really? Equal? Are you sure?
Bishop f4. Rook takes g3. Alright, we're hitting this bishop here. We're hitting that bishop there. You missed that, didn't you?
The rook's hitting the bishop, that's a pain.
This is amazing tactics, though. That's just been bypassed by Magnus again. So White can't win this, apparently. Takes, check. Even though he's like taking with check.
You take either rook.
We've got rook takes d. Yeah. So we take this off. There's rook takes d3.
Yep.
See, this is amazing, isn't it? Magnus is seeing a lot more tactically than us, even with the analysis board. There's a bit of a worry. I think my hopes of becoming world champion have been dashed by this. Oh, hell, Magnus. Okay, rook h5. He's played the engine move in this position.
I didn't see rook takes g3.
Yeah, I know there's a loose piece here. You wouldn't have thought of it. I mean, incredible. Rook takes h6. Just bypassed. These guys are mega alert, aren't they? They are. This is why Vichy's also, winning the candidates and stuff. So he's mega alert to this. So he saw a very scary looking position because rook takes g3 here. Incredible. So it takes. We take the rook. If we took with well, what else do we do? If we take here, we get rid of the pin.
We just lose.
Oh, that one.
White actually loses there.
Yeah, White loses. Is the exchange? Well, he's losing the bishop. Yeah. So he has to take on e5 here.
Check.
Incredible bypass.
Lots of captures, which are
unbelievable. This has Magnus's move is written all over it. You see, he gets rid of all this tactical nonsense with every single move he plays. He's getting rid of all the tactical nonsense. He's just, he's still got a visually appealing position, bypassing all those complications. I think the problem is, Paul, you need great accuracy to navigate these forcing variations. You can't just dismiss it because of the intuitive pin.
Yes. But I just think, okay, well, I've got the pin and the rooks are facing each other.
Yeah.
So you take a rook.
I know. You ended
yours. I've got the knight as well.
You ended the analysis there. I think this is endpoint theory. You've just ended your analysis.
Well, I just thought rook takes g3. I can just take on e5, and then I can take either rook. But the problem is, I take one rook, then you take my bishop. I take the other rook, you take my rook.
So rook. Sorry, what position? Rook here. We just take on e5.
Now I can take either of your rooks, but if I take the rook on g3, you take my other rook.
Yes.
But if I take that, you play rook takes d3, which that's the move I miss. The rook takes d3.
I know, it's incredible stuff. It's fireworks behind the scenes of this game, which not many people are going to appreciate. It's unbelievable behind the scenes. Yeah? It's like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre behind the scenes of this game, and no one really appreciates that. You need amazing commentators.
Yeah, funnily enough, I don't appreciate that, funnily enough.
What?
The Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
What?
In that classic film.
Did you not see it?
Funnily enough, no.
Never.
It's amazing, isn't it?
But it is a horror classic.
Is it really?
Yes, I thought everyone's seen it.
Do you really think everyone's seen it? Really?
It's a horror classic. You have to be 18 to see it. Don't see it if you're under 18. So I'm not saying if you're under 18, don't go.
If you've got a brain, don't go see it either.
Dear, oh dear. Oh man. Okay. Yeah, you see, this is why intuition, can't be trusted. This is unbelievable. So rook h5 just bypasses.
It's a horror classic.
It is a horror classic.
Okay, well, so is Frankenstein from 1931. Have you seen that?
Yes.
No, you haven't. No, you haven't.
Frankenstein from 1930. Have you seen 12 Angry Men? This is a classic.
Well, of course I've seen 12 Angry Men.
Well, I've seen it multiple times, I've studied it, quite a lot. It's about how evidence can be used to sort of change public opinion, concrete evidence. It's about bias,
Yeah, I know what it's about. I have seen it.
Yeah,
but...
Magnus is playing like an engine, so it takes an engine to understand what Magnus's moves are about. Yeah, blimey, rook h5, amazing. We didn't predict that, did we, Paul? Rook h5, yeah.
No,
we're so simple-minded. Rook h6.
Even that was suggested before by the computer. Anyway, put the analysis off. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay, but white is slightly better here. Anyway,
well, white's quite a bit better. Okay, bishop c6. Well, I'm not entirely sure what that does. I would have thought better to get the king off that diagonal, personally. What does bishop c6 do? I mean, you can go to e8 to defend that pawn.
Yes, that looks like...
but I don't see how it's going to be attacked.
Yeah, there's no attacking point here at the moment.
No. I mean, there will be an attacking point if the bishop moves there. But while the bishop's on that diagonal, there's no attacking point.
Talk about X-ray attack on the rook. I don't know if that's going to be handy later.
Maybe. Maybe Magnus can play king c2 now. Just to, or even king d2, probably king c2. To defend that bishop, so the tactical line we looked at before wouldn't work, and h6 should be on prise again.
Yes. Well, if we play king c, funny enough, there's a check here, which is annoying now. Yes.
Maybe that's the idea.
Yeah, and if we go here, we're walking into a pin potentially.
Yeah.
On the.
It'll be on c2.
Yeah.
But then bishop a4 check is.
Why don't we just move the bishop? Isn't that a more simple way? We just move the bishop if we don't want it. Can we not afford to move it here?
Yeah, I think we can.
So we'd still have this primitive tactic still be on potentially.
Yeah, I think bishop c2 is better.
But then, the king does move away from this pin. Can't we just move the king here?
Yeah, quite possibly move the king somewhere.
Here?
Yeah, why not?
Actually, then c4 is slightly more weakened. So
we take on h6. And knight takes e5. Do you play that?
We're on c4 now as well. Black looks remarkably active. Yeah, and we're torturing c4.
Black's starting to look better now.
Yeah, funny that how appearances change in chess. It really is funny. Maybe it keeps our interest going. These ridiculous looking positions are actually really good later. So yeah, unless do we really want to weaken c4? Matthew M. Why before the h pawn was exchanged a moment ago didn't white play rook f3? Black's rook had to defend f7 and then hg with nice stuff.
I think Black be able to take it with his bishop.
Oh, he has played bishop c2. Hang on. He has played
bishop c2. Okay.
I've accidentally mentioned a Super Grandmaster move with completely the wrong reasons, but I'm going to give myself 2,000 points for that.
Well, I did give you a general idea before, didn't I? With King c2.
Yeah.
So I kind of guided you.
Do you want some of my points? Okay, so. 500 points for the inspiration. Yeah. But I just don't think Black just gets out of this now with King d7 or King here. Is d7 better? You can hold f7 one day. No, or is there checks? Maybe we want the king here.
I mean, White's now a long way away from attacking the pawn on b6, so maybe the king can come across.
All right, let's just try and address that question someone asked. What was it? What was the question again? It was about rook f3 earlier. Was it bishop? There was no rook f3. Sorry, hang on. I'll scroll up.
It just gets taken.
Yeah, there was no rook f3. No, I don't think rook f3 was on most of the time. Okay. And let's go back to the game. Synchronize. Bishop c2. So we've got c4 slightly looser if ever takes in here, but then there's that bishop f4. So if the king moves now, we might actually be threatening knight takes e5. But in this position, what about something like
knight takes e5 because rook's defending it?
Oh yeah, yeah. Point of rook h5 actually.
Rook h5.
Yes. Well spotted, Paul. Well spotted. Just testing you there. I was just testing you, and you passed that little test.
Very good. Thank you. So is White's plan to play f4 and f5?
f4, f5, yeah. Okay, let's have a look at this. So I'm going to go crazy and sack this knight. Yeah, what would you play here?
Really?
Yeah. No, just to get some insight in the position. It's not a legitimate line. I just want some insight in the position.
So rook takes rook,
which you might not get otherwise. So rook takes rook.
Yeah.
Takes. You take the knight with
the pawn.
Pawn. I take here, and there's nothing really, is there?
No.
No. Okay. So f4. You're not threatening. Oh no, you might be threatening f5. I'm just wondering about knight takes e5. There, as soon as you play f5, you play knight takes e5 because you blocked protection of e5. Is that really what Magnus wants to do in that position? Anyway, d7. This is with king d7.
If he wanted to do that, he could have just played f4 without playing rook h5. So suddenly, I'm not sure what Magnus's plan is.
It gets more complicated. The plot thickens. Have you seen Inspector Calls, by the way?
Inspector Calls?
Yeah.
I've read it.
Alright, you haven't seen it at the theatre?
No.
Alright. Oh, I have, yeah.
Very good, well done.
Yeah. it was good, yeah. I recommend it, Paul. I do.
Why are you be Mr. Culture now? Do you actually know who wrote Inspector Calls?
No.
No, exactly. So that's not really very cultural, is it?
It's just one way from being looked up on Wiki. With an iPhone, I can use Wiki and dynamically access all this information on the move.
Well, you can just ask me. I'll tell you. It's J.B. Priestley, yes? Remember that now?
Right.
And have you read any of his other plays or seen any of his other plays, like Time in the Conways, for example? No?
No. Is that very good as well?
Yes, I think so. Pretty good. There's another one as well, but I can't remember what it's called now.
Okay. Have you seen the science fiction classic Close Encounters of the Third Kind? Because I thought that was actually very, very good.
I saw it when it came out, which was a long time ago,
Yeah.
and I can't really remember very much about it. I have seen it, yes.
Mm. I think, you know, I used to read Mad Magazine, actually. They did feature cartoons of the classic films.
Yes.
Mad Magazine. I think it's still running. Alfred E. Newman. Have you?
Yeah.
You never seen?
No. Is Mad still going? It seems quite outdated these days.
I think the guy died. Alfred E. I think he died. Yeah, he was actually the.
I thought Alfred E. Newman was the.
He was the character with the
character, yeah.
tooth missing.
So how could he die? I mean, they killed him off.
No, I think he died in real life. The guy running it.
But was he actually called Alfred E. Newman?
Actually,
I don't know.
This is another thing. It would be good to look at on Wiki. So King B7, yes, King B7.
I used to play King B7. Okay. Wonder why he's gone that way. Maybe it's a come and get me move. What are you going to do?
Okay. So obviously, let's check. No, obviously, let's look at Rook H6. This doesn't do anything then.
It doesn't appear
anything. Knight takes E5.
Knight takes E5. No
and
problem.
actually, we're on C4. Even worse. Even worse, we're on C4 because of that weakness of the last move there. That bishop not supporting C4 anymore.
No.
Takes H6.
That's what
Goes into
also
a
possible. I mean, it goes into a pin, but
we can play Knight takes E5 here.
Oh, you can play Knight F4. Can you? No.
Oh, Knight takes here. There's Rook takes, isn't there? First, is there Rook takes there?
Rook takes wins a piece, doesn't it?
I would have thought.
Rook takes wins a piece. Take on E5. Sorry, what was Knight F?
But Knight F4.
No, you just play Rook takes G8 again.
Oh, Rook takes
G. Yeah, Rook takes G8 does win.
No. Oh yeah, it does. Yeah. Because we're on this Rook, so we can't take here or anything. Okay.
No, so it doesn't work.
We can't exploit this pin.
It doesn't look like it. But it's slightly awkward.
I need another T after this. Hang on, Bishop takes H6. Brain engage. Bishop takes H6. What's the problem with Bishop takes H6?
Well, there's no actual problem with it. It just ties up White's pieces a bit. And the problem is, how does he unravel? How does he unravel the Bishop and Rook? When it moves the Rook away, then E5 is going to go again.
And actually, F4's not playable here. Say we give Black a token move. If we played F4, then Knight takes F4.
No, Rook takes Rook.
Oh, Rook takes Rook. I'm just wondering about this check. Okay, no, that's still... Okay, better move than that.
Hold on. Put that back. There's something really weird there. So let's say Rook takes Rook. And yeah, Knight E2 check.
Check.
King D2. Rook takes Rook. Knight. Rook takes G2.
Check.
Oh, here there's Bishop F3
yes,
check.
Exactly.
If
But
King
maybe you can go to D3.
Hmm. We've got this move to
Check.
try and get this pawn.
Yeah, then try and...
Well, actually, we've got a lot of pawns. Mind you, this pawn's probably going to be winning.
Yeah, this is good for white though.
Yeah.
Because f7 is going in a
Yeah,
second.
yeah.
Not quite, but
So
I'm developing tactical lines in your style now, aren't I?
this had to have benefit to you. These training sessions, I like to refer them to, where I'm training you to get to that higher level, Paul,
Absolutely.
of chess understanding. Do I read Kingpin the chess magazine? It's not some other sort of magazine. I assume Kingpin the chess. Yes, I've got a few Kingpin. I should mention that Jonathan Manley. I used to play actually at rapid play events. I would recommend, if you like comedy with chess, Kingpin Chess magazine is very good. You've got some Kingpins, Paul?
Yes, but it hardly comes out these days. The gaps are getting longer between each one.
Oh, it needs to be plugged more. By the way, where on earth did you get this one? Where was that found?
It was there with those the other two.
Oh, right, the other two. Yeah, I think these magazines are really good when they're in a sort of bind, aren't they? They're like a book, aren't
Binder.
they? Yeah, they're like a book, aren't they? These magazines.
It is a book.
Well, no, it's a collection of magazines, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but this is a book. Yes.
Chess Volume 40.
Yes. This is a book. You not see that this is a book.
Yes.
You know what the book looks like. That's a book.
But it's actually, if you look at it,
Yes,
the
I know.
nuts and bolts, Paul, it's actually a collection of magazines. Okay, so I'm recommending here Chess Volume 40.
Yes, they've been compiled into a book.
It's a fascinating insight into British chess.
In the days before Kingscrusher.
So the chess quiz of 1974 here by Hugh Courtley. England was merry England when Old Christmas brought his chess again, a Christmas quiz that oft chess lovers through half the year with a to Walter Scott. Isn't this wonderful writing stuff? Yeah.
Yes. Are you familiar with Walter Scott Drift?
Yeah, I think I've heard the name. If you let me grab my iPhone, I can check on Wiki for detailed information.
Yes, a Scottish writer of the early 19th century, most famous for Ivanhoe. Wrote several novels set in the medieval past. Rook G4. Okay, and what's the idea of that exactly?
It's another move. It's just to really annoy us. What they're secretly doing, Paul. They're not just playing a world championship match. They're trying to show that they can play moves that no one is able to at all predict. Yeah, and they're winning. They're winning on that front. These are virtually unpredictable moves, except if you're running through like chess engines. Rook G4.
What does that do? I can see one idea behind that. And the only one idea I can see behind that is to play G3, so the pawn is not on, I know exactly, that's what I was going to say. So the pawn is not on prise in some lines when there's an exchange on G8. But the problem is the rook gets trapped on G4.
He's actually holding subtly the C4 pawn here. Yeah?
But it's not being attacked.
No, but that's in advance, isn't it, of Rook H6.
But then knight takes E5 is going to hit the rook as well.
But then there's Rook F. Okay, let's give Black a token move to try and decipher this intriguing position. So King A7, Rook takes here. So what would you play in this position?
Well, knight takes E5.
Looks pretty good for Black, actually. I can't see what the problem is, at this moment for Black.
We've had similar positions before, haven't we? The other possible idea behind it is to play Bishop E4. Again, I'm entirely unconvinced. Could that possibly be it?
Well, then you leave h6 as a target. But, you know, then the knight might crawl out one day to f5 with good counterplay.
Well, possibly, but I can hit it with g4, maybe.
Let's just examine that possibility then. King here, bishop... Oops. Okay, so king a7. Instead of king a7... No, we'll go with king a7. Bishop e4. We take... We play this. We want to give up h6 for a moment. And also, what do you do about this?
Okay, now that's on prise, so... No, I'm not convinced by this for white at all. Rook g4, what does that do?
So you agree this could be okay for black here. g3, there's knight f5. It's a beautiful knight on f5 now.
Yes. It's not that beautiful, but it's okay.
It's more than okay. It's you know, I think you know, g4 here we can take on e3 and
yeah, so white should probably play king d2 now.
king d2.
White is still better here.
Hang on. Rook g6. What do you play here?
g4.
g4. Pushing through g4, right? Well, I get take on. Do I want to take on e3? I think I do want to take on e3.
King takes. Rook f4.
All right, you could end up better here. Oh,
I am better.
yeah. Yes.
I don't think it's winning.
Did you know that Paul Kaz visited the Vancouver Open in May 1975?
Keres.
Keres, yeah. Did you know that?
Funny enough, no.
No, that's unbelievable. He massively outrated the rest of the field. Poor guys. He was 2.565, and the oh no, there was a 24.90. No, there was quite a few. There was Walt Brown. Okay, yeah. Around about 1972, these magazines would be interesting, wouldn't they, for the chess activity boom of the Fischer-Spassky match?
Isn't that around 1972?
No, this is That was 1975. That was a report from 1975.
Okay, that's the year Keres died.
Oh, this is October 1974 to September 1975.
This is the year Keres died. So that must be one of his last tournaments.
Oh, blimey!
I mean, look up obituaries. It may even have his no, in the index. I don't know when he died in 1975, obviously, but yeah, there you are. Obituary, Paul Keres.
Blimey! Spot on.
Okay, Black has played A5. One of your
from a completely different position earlier on. Okay.
I think he's just saying, okay, Magnus, what are you doing?
Harry Posner said, I played Spassky in 1971 at the Toronto Open. Blimey. Fantastic. Did you win, Harry? Oh, sorry, hold on. I might need to...
Okay, one thought I had is that maybe Carlson is going to play g3, but he's going to prepare that with king d2 to e2. It's all pretty slow. If Annan's not doing anything, maybe that's the idea. Bishop d1. Similar idea to prepare g3 without stopping bishop f3. Yeah, bishop d1 prepares g3 and stops black playing bishop f3, winning at least the exchange. And then when the pawn's on g3, it's not going to be attacked by the bishop on g2. Rook on g8 in some lines.
Something here.
Carlson's played bishop d1, which is similar to the idea I was suggesting, of king d2 to e2. The idea is, I think, to put the pawn on g3 to get it away from the attacks of the bishop and rook.
Oh right, to play g3. Oh,
Yeah.
g3 without this skewer.
Yes. And then maybe to take on h6 with something, possibly. I'm not sure if this actually does anything, or it's all bluff.
He's holding the position for the moment. Maybe I'll try and understand the position himself more, just holding the position. Because if black's not doing anything, is black doing anything active? I mean, black has done some committal pawn moves now.
Well, a5 doesn't really do. It's not very committal. Or it makes b5 less likely, but it also gives king space on a6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Paul, can you keep the commentary going for now? I've got to go out now. Is it possible for you to keep the commentary going to it?
Yeah. Hold on.
You're right. You know, for that. Oh, sorry. Sorry, will you be right now for that? Just for now. I'm just going to leave you in the capable hands of Paul Georgiou for a bit. I need to some other pressing matters have come up, so I hope Paul can keep you entertained and informed. See you in about hopefully an hour. Okay, thanks, Paul. If you want to carry on.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Okay, so Anna's played Rook D8, which is interesting. Cuts the king off. Not sure that's particularly relevant, but okay, let's have a look. So what happens if white takes on h6 now? Okay, black can just take on e5 again, which is nothing. It's actually good for black. And bishop takes h6. Just knight takes e5. Not a problem. Nope. Another point about this rook d8, if now g3 would give black, say, a token move. Well, no, don't give black a token move, you just play immediately. Rook takes
Check.
d1. End of game, bishop f3.
Check.
So it looks actually to me as if Magnus is running out of ideas. He's gone back to c2. So now he's threatening to take on g6. I'm just wondering if there's a perpetual coming up now with rook g8, bishop d1, rook back to d8, bishop c2. I thought this was very good for Magnus earlier. Now it's looking like he hasn't got very much at all. It's a deceptive game, chess. if I was going for a win, what would my plan be? Well, I just can't see a winning plan for white. Black has everything covered, so I would probably just take a draw. Maybe Magnus has seen something, and obviously he's much stronger than me, but I can't see it. The rook's gone back to g8. Magnus's other try maybe is to play king d2 to e2, which we mentioned earlier. He has played king d2. Magnus has played king d2. Hold on. What happens now if knight takes e5? Obviously, if rook takes e5, then g4 is on prise. So white takes here first, but now black has knight takes c4 check.
Check.
Well, this is odd, because black's going to retake the rook, and if white plays king d3, then black has knight b2.
Check.
And when the king moves away, black is going to be a pawn up. Oh, apparently not. That's very strange. Amazing. I've just checked with the computer, and I missed knight takes e5. Unbelievable. They both missed knight takes e5. That's shocking. There's something incredibly deep that the computer has. That's a shocking double blunder. Amazing. Incredible. So now imagine Magnus will play king e2. I had to check the computer because I couldn't believe it. I thought surely that's just good for black. And I thought maybe I'd missed something, and I hadn't. Incredible. that could actually turn out to be the turning point of the match. Seriously, if Carlton, which doesn't look all that likely, but if he, and then after the game, Anand finds he's thrown away his chances by missing knight takes e5, he's not going to be happy. But to win with black, a fairly simple blunder, and I think that probably would be a winning position. Well, that would have really been something, wouldn't it? Someone has suggested White actually played King D1, not King D2, which would change things completely and actually makes more sense. So this is unclear whether Carlsen actually played King D1 or King D2. Okay, and now Anand's played A3. I suppose give him some ideas later on of somehow winning the pawn on A2 and queening that pawn, which is unlikely to happen. But these things do happen, and of course the A4 square is now available to the bishop in some lines if E2 moves away. And Carlton's played F3 fairly quickly, not G3. Maybe he just want to put his king on F2 to defend the G pawn, in preference to weakening his light squares with G3. So this is a neat reorganisation, but it remains to be seen whether White can actually turn this into the full point, because E5 is still weak. I'd ideally like to capture on H6 without dropping E5, because if White drops E5, then C4 is going to be weak as well, and F7 will become less weak. But if it's defended with F4, then G2 will become weaker again. Even if the king is defending it on F2, then the bishop on C6 and the rook on G8 will both be angling towards it. Going up on the A3 pawn, I think the problem is that if bishop C1, black doesn't actually need to defend it. Say king C7, bishop C1. king b7, and if it's taken, now that the rook can swing across to a8, and we'll take the pawn on a2 and become very active. I think people want me to repeat the blunder. I'll see if I can go back. Yes, it was in this position. No. D2. It's a bit suggested he played King D1. It's actually a transmission error, but we're not clear about that. But if King D2 was played, then Anand missed Knight takes E5. And if Rook takes E5, then just Rook takes G4. That's no good for White. And if he takes the Rook, now the Knight is on prise on E5, but Black can throw in an intermezzo.
Check.
Knight takes C4 check, and he'll retake the Rook. So White's only move to attack the Knight is King D3, but then Black has Knight B2 check.
Check.
And after the king moves, Black can take on G8, and G2 is on prise, so Black will be 2 pawns up. Hope that's clear. Let's just check what move we're on. '28. Well, White is aiming to win a pawn. Basically, he wants to win the pawn, probably the one on h6, but without losing the pawn on e5. Well, that's absolutely crucial. If the pawn on e5 goes, then c4 is going to be weak as well. So if White trades on h6 for e5, White will probably end up worse. So White wants to defend the pawn on e5 before taking on h6, but that's not so easy. Because if he defends it with f4, then g2 will become very weak. So he's obviously got some slow plan to defend all his weak points before grabbing material. That's interesting. Ah, this is interesting. Vichy has allowed White to capture on g6, winning a pawn. Now what's the idea of this? Because Black's pawned on e6 as well. Oh, that's bishop b8. Thanks for pointing that out. I missed that completely. I'm sure KC would have spotted that. Thank you. Bishop, of course. But no, there's rook g7 check.
Check.
So, no, that doesn't work. Nevertheless, I had actually missed bishop e8. I'm just wondering if this idea is to play bishop a4 with the idea of rook d1 to a1 to use this advanced pawn, but that can't be any good. I mean, for a start, there's just rook h1. And these pawns are all are just so weak. White could end up with 3 connected passed pawns. So rook d8 is mysterious to me. I don't get rook d8. Okay, let's just have a look at the computer quickly. Yes, it's saying to take on g6. It's preferring rook g3 for some strange reason. Okay, but it's certainly looking good for Magnus now. I wonder if rook d8 is some very deep idea, or if it's just a blunder. I really can't believe you missed rook g7 check in that line. Rook g3 is so deep I don't understand it. I would just take the pawn and then take all the other pawns. I don't think black can infiltrate on the d file, because white can play his rook back to h1, defending the d1 square. And d2 will be covered by the bishop and the king. Yes, I suppose the idea of king f2 and rook g3 is that you double rooks on the h file, then you can take on h6 with the bishop, still defending the pawn on e5, retreat the bishop, and black will have to swap rooks, and e5 will still be defended. It's rather convoluted. But it looks like a win for Magnus now. Wow, another unexpected move. King e1. Wow. I have no idea what the purpose of that move is. Anybody got any idea what the one is? Okay, I'm glad you all agree with me. King e1, you don't understand that at all. King e1, no, not a clue. And Alan has responded quickly with rook d7. Again, he's allowing the capture on g6. Yeah, but how does King e1 improve his position? And King e1 in a way makes White's position worse, because now he doesn't have the option of rook h1 in some lines where the a pawn is dangerous. Okay, bishop back to c1. Wow. These last few moves are very difficult to comprehend. After all this effort to defend g6, Black's undefended it, and White's not taking there, even though it wins at least one pawn. And now he's after the a3 pawn, which isn't actually really on prise anyway, because of rook a8 ideas. I mean, he could put his bishop on b3, then maybe he would genuinely be threatening the a pawn. But the bishop on b3 would be so totally out of play that even if Black puts a rook on a8, the bishop on b3 is totally out of play, and so is the rook. Okay, well, no, I'm suggesting not the rook on h8 goes to a8, but the rook on d7 goes back to d8. So if then bishop takes a3, we play rook a8. So rook d8, bishop takes a3, rook a8. This doesn't look particularly good for White. So what I'm suggesting is it's possibly White can put the bishop on b3, and now this pawn on a3 is on prise. But Black can just defend it with rook a8, and now this bishop on b3 is doing absolutely nothing. and the rook is defending the pawn. The rook is inactive, but so is the bishop. So I don't see how white can progress like that either. Okay, he has played rook a8. Wow. Which leaves h6 on prise. Of course, white doesn't want to take with the rook, because then knight takes e5 as usual. But if he takes with the bishop, but black has two possible ideas I can see. One is to play 4. Then if the bishop moves away, there are does bishop e4. Okay, so scrap that. The other idea is just to play the rook back to h8 with this rather awkward pin, and now knight takes e5 is threatened again. I'm not sure what white can do there. I mean, f4 is possible, but after f4 white's pieces are very awkward indeed. I mean, g2 is potentially weak again. The bishop is out of play on h6. This pin is still there. Maybe that's the idea. Hello? Alekos, hi, how you doing? Okay, coming over. Great, okay. Okay, it's got longer. Okay, great. See you soon. I don't know. The last few views have been a bit odd, to say the least. Okay, see you soon. Bye. Okay, so good news coming along in 5 or 10 minutes. Hopefully the game won't finish before then. So we'll be back to a duo again. Sorry, yes, I'm back, and well, it's still all very mysterious, but I think I looked at why bishop takes h6 and rook takes h6, and not that effect. But Black seems to be better organised now. He's potentially ready for bishop a4. So I think plans like king f2 now look a bit slow. I mean, Vishy is developing decent queenside play, and I really don't understand why Magnus didn't take on g6 several moves ago. He's gone back to e2. So I'm mystified by king e1 and king e2, I have to say. I'm just looking in this position. If he'd taken on g6, f takes, rook takes. Well, he's whoops. Rook takes. Well, he's put his bishop and king on bad squares. So now bishop comes in with ideas of rook d1, and there's some problems here. I mean, black's pieces can become very active. If bishop takes a3, well, this bishop could actually end up being lost. So I think Magnus's last few moves have just been very strange. Yeah, and Annan has played bishop a4. I'm wondering what Carlsen's doing actually. If black gets rook to d1, then that a pawn can become a serious problem. Of course, bishop e4 check is
Check.
logical. Presumably that plays bishop c6. Maybe that's White's idea, but yes, he's played bishop e4. Okay, but after
Check.
exchange on c6, he still can't take on h6 for as before for similar reasons. What bishop takes h6 is possible, but does walk into that pin with rook h8 again. It's all very very strange. But there's another chance of perpetual here. If the bishop goes back to c2, bishop a4. Okay, now Carlsen's taken on g6. Wow. Okay, this is good for white, but why didn't white do this 6 or 7 moves ago? Okay, that's probably a Lekos.
Is the mic's on and everything, is it? Just milk, please. Yeah, thanks.
Good afternoon everyone, it's Alex Annotated signing on. How are we doing here? This looks pretty bad for black, doesn't it? Can black save this position despite the material deficit? Opposite colour bishops might not be a help here. The h6 pawn's doomed. Question is, can black generate any counterplay? I would imagine yes. I mean, if the g pawn starts to move at some point, then the f pawn could be a target. Then again, e6 is also weak. So that could go as well at some point. Bishop might have to play back to d7 to defend it. Very critical position here. I reckon probably evaluating it as winning for white. Oh yeah, Paul's just making me a nice cup of tea, so he's found something useful to do. Whoops, he didn't hear me saying that. Bishop a4. Hey Paul. And now let's just play bishop a4.
Okay.
You can drive. Okay. Bishop a4.
Okay, so Alan has played bishop a4. Yeah, we can click on 0. That'll get us to the current game position.
Fantastic. What's the point of bishop a4?
Well, I mean, it's his idea of coming in on d1.
Right.
But you haven't seen the last few moves, have you?
No, I was dropping my girls off at Greek school, so
Yeah.
I saw the opening. I saw the queens coming off. Obviously,
Shall I just go through it?
go through the last sort of 10 moves. I think I saw it up to
It was,
king b7. So he's pushed his a pawn. Yeah,
it's right up to about here.
yeah, that's right. Okay, go through.
Okay, it's very strange.
Yeah, yeah,
f3.
yeah.
And this move, we just thought this was bizarre, and no one really worked this out.
Just blundering a pawn on g6.
We're just leaving g6 on, please.
Strange. Why does he do that?
Oh no, the first point, which I spotted,
Yeah.
was here. After king d2,
Mm-hmm.
this has been suggested. Carson actually played king d1. But the problem with king is it just allows this.
All right. Threatening to take on c4 with check.
Yeah, exactly. And then check on b2.
The rook on g4 is hanging.
Yeah.
So rook g8, yeah, knight takes c4, check, king's got to move, and then...
Check.
But then king d3 then?
Yeah,
is
but
there a
king-
check on b2?
Yeah, there's check on b2.
Check.
And black's 2 pawns up.
Okay, no other king move then?
No, it just resigns, really.
Check, yeah. So how come that's basic?
Well, I mean, either they both missed this, or it's been suggested the transmission was wrong, and Carson actually played king d1.
No, really? Yeah, but even after king d1, is that not...
Oh, what's happened here?
Are we still on YouTube?
Oh. Go back. I think I somehow managed to... do you know how this...
No. Fine.
I don't know. I think I must have accidentally...
Go back again? Can you go back again? Stream status no data. Alright, no, we're still...
Yeah, but we lost all the comments.
Well, if you click on game 6 in there or something...
I think I've gone back too far. Okay, let's click on this.
Yeah, okay. There we are.
Okay, we've got it back. Right,
Right.
this is a really weird mouse.
Okay, so White's just played...
Okay, so I hate this mouse. I can't get it to work properly.
Technology. All right. Okay. So let's just let's just go back here.
Okay, so this is the game. It's just taken on e6.
So White's 2 pawns up.
Okay. Let's just briefly go back and I'll go through those moves so
Yeah.
you can see what happened after. So they're suggesting that possibly it
It's
was
a mistake in the transmission.
Yeah.
That's unusual.
otherwise it's a remarkable double blunder. What happens here is also weird. Rook d8. This just allows bishop takes g6.
Did he forget about this move or something?
I mean, but he didn't take on g6.
Oh, he didn't take on g6. What happened then?
It just went crazy. The next few moves is just. I mean, they're suggesting that takes as bishop e8 skewer, but then there's rook g7 check. Do you see?
Rook takes,
bishop takes,
yeah,
pawn takes, rook takes as a skewer.
Okay,
But then
yeah.
there's rook g7.
Yeah, that's easy. Yeah, that's
They
easy
couldn't
to
both
see.
have missed that. So what happens? The next few moves are just very odd. King e1.
King e1.
Exactly. Everybody thought king e1.
What is that?
Not the remotest idea.
Is this another transmission error, is it?
No, apparently did play king e1, but
I don't get that.
no, I don't get that either.
Well, now, can he not just play the other rook back to g8 again?
Well,
then repeat the position or something?
Anything. But just king e1 is just.
I don't get that.
I don't get that at all.
Is that a waiting move or something? But it actually worsens the king.
It does. It worsens the king with bishop a8.
I don't.
Well, it just weakens. And also rook h1 to defend the queen side. Rook d7. The bishop goes back to c1. Rook a8.
Right.
King goes back to e2. And maybe this is just genius. And now
Check.
he takes on. No, he plays check first.
Right.
Now he takes on g6.
Okay. All right. That's very bizarre, isn't it?
It's more than a little odd.
Bizarre, isn't? No.
I would imagine so.
Because once the h rook takes the h pawn, then the b pawn's going to be on prise as well. Unless there's some kind of attack that we haven't seen. d2's covered. The king can also can escape out of f2 as well if he needs to.
Well, I think Anna wants to play rook d1 and go for this guy,
Yeah,
which could be dangerous. But can white just not take?
Yeah.
Because there's no bishop d1 check now, obviously.
Well, there's bishop d7 then.
But that leaves a rook on prise.
Yes, true. Actually, rook d7. Sorry, bishop d7 attacks the e6 rook, but then rook e7 and pins it. Right?
Yeah, but I think we can also just take on d1.
Yes. Tactic's not working there for black.
And I think once his a pawn's gone, it's just all over because the.
It queens very quickly, doesn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, no. But once white's taken the guy on a3,
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
then there's no counterplay because white's just taken all black's kingside pawns.
Well,
Unless the idea is to play rook a1 and to try and trap this bishop.
Oh yeah.
But that's not going to work either because look, there's rook takes h6.
Rook takes a2 check.
Oh, it's check, isn't it?
Yeah. Losing the bishop. Black's getting back into it again.
Rook takes a6, but
Check.
Oh yeah. You're right on that one.
rook takes b6. That's king e3. Rook takes a3. Rook takes b6 check.
Check.
Well,
No, this is still pretty fiddly, isn't it?
White's got more than enough compensation for the lost piece.
Yeah, but it's fiddly. c3's on, and maybe c4.
Yeah.
And these pawns are not exactly queening instantly.
No. King d2 to defend the pawn,
Yeah.
and check on a2
Well,
again.
it's checkmate. I mean, but there's rook d8. This is pretty messy. This is certainly not.
Well, where's the king go though? King c7 probably,
Yeah,
and then there's no more checks, is there? So black's doing well, no?
I don't know if he's doing well. I mean, but it's pretty.
He's not going to win, is he? With only one pawn left. Right.
No, but this we're looking for Magnus. So
rook d1. The bishop's on prise. Where does it go?
this is, going back the previous move.
Yeah.
I'm slightly surprised by that. I would have thought rook h1.
All right, to stop the rook infiltration. Yeah.
Rook h1 looks much safer to me.
Prophylactic move.
Yeah.
True. Yeah, I agree with that. But maybe bishop c2 Bishop c2 followed by bishop d3 check and stuff, yeah, and the pawn's going on c4.
Bishop c2 to b1, but
Or d3 check,
yeah,
the a pawn.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, I see. Yeah, that's good. That's a good point.
And it also attacks the bishop, the rook on g6 as well.
Yeah. Okay. So bishop c.
Well, white to
okay.
move,
So white takes this.
Yeah.
Bishop c2. But the problem is we're getting on to b6 already.
Well, okay,
So-
rook a6 then.
Because bishop b1 now loses a piece. So yeah, but,
A6. You can throw in a check first as well to see where the king moves. Oh, he has taken on a3.
he's taken on a3.
So the more pawns going, obviously, the more chances of a draw here, right? Still, the e5 pawn must be worth something here, right?
Yeah. So what's happening after rook a1?
Rook a1. Okay.
I mean, this
There's a very awkward check on e7, though, isn't there? From white. Yeah.
what now?
Yeah. It's quite
Check.
an awkward check, isn't it?
It's rather annoying. I think the king has to go to a6
Yeah.
because king c6. That's actually mate.
Checkmate.
Yes. We don't want to. You like hearing that checkmate sound.
What
don't you?
Trish certainly does.
Yeah. Somebody was mentioning on the comments that we've employed some women just to do checkmate. I found that quite funny.
I don't think so. And of course, if the king goes back, well, that's just rubbish. That's
Yeah.
just walking into back
Yeah.
rank type mates.
Exactly. Same idea with rook takes
So
h.
have to go to a6.
Right, okay.
Rather weird configuration.
Well, then rook takes h. Oh no, you can't. Yeah.
Weird configuration of pieces on the a file.
Well, king e3 then or something, right?
Yeah, but maybe now
King e3.
king e3. We haven't taken the. Haven't won the bishop.
Yeah, because the bishop can go back to c1, and then white's going to have pressure on the b pawn.
So maybe takes and bishop goes away and rook takes
Rook
g.
takes g2. Lots of off here.
Yeah, but this should be winning for white, shouldn't it?
You should be, yeah. Well, it's 2 pawns up, but it's you don't know with these opposite coloured bishops.
I mean, but there's rooks on the board as well. I mean,
Yeah.
they're connected past pawns.
Yes.
Okay, one as expected.
As expected. No way of defending the a2 pawn.
No, but it doesn't matter so much now that the a3 pawn's gone.
So we think rook check next on e7.
Yeah, nice little rook check on e7, intermezzo. Yeah. Who is this new guy?
Yeah, not so new, guys. Not so new. If anybody saw me commenting earlier, my handle's the real Cypriot on this on the comments. So I was actually following this game before. Yeah, but I've known these guys for years.
Many years.
Yes, and we played on the same teams for years as well. In fact, I still play on the same team as Kingscrusher. Who's had a very good year last year, so he's now playing above me. So, well done. And I think he's even overtaken Paul now, isn't it, on the ECF?
On the ECF, he's 212.
That's the first time that's ever happened, Paul, isn't it?
No, it isn't. we had this discussion earlier. No, he's,
Okay.
when I went down to 173, he overtook me.
Oh, you had a really bad year, didn't you?
Yeah, and there's another year he was slightly ahead of me, 195 to 192 or something.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, both years he told me about it quite a few times.
He likes to gloat about these things, doesn't he? But now he's basically playing board one for several teams now. So
Playing the tough guys.
he's got to play the tough guys. There's nowhere to hide in this game.
Not as tough as these guys playing today, but
Yeah, I'm happy with Anand's play though. Actually, I have to say the positions are a lot sharper. He's playing the Sicilian, right, instead of this, E5 stuff. But good.
I mean, I thought these two games were key. I thought if Anand could hold today and tomorrow, Monday, then he'd have three. It'd be equal on points, and he'd have three whites in the last 5 games, and maybe even be slight favourite.
Yeah.
So I think if he loses today, he must hold tomorrow. And that's essential.
Yeah, well, that's pretty much what Magnus has done as well. Though he lost the last or 2 games ago, and then he held the next day. So
Yeah, I mean, but Vichy can't go 2 games down, I don't think.
well, I don't think it's over yet, though.
No, but I'm just saying, I think he has to, if he loses today, he has to get a draw tomorrow.
Well, you know, Kasparov didn't think that way, did he? He used to lose and then win the next game. I mean, Carlsen's doing this in tournaments. You know, he loses. He's a very resilient player. He just loses and then he wins the next game. So he doesn't really care about losing. You know, this is the thing. You know.
But this is a match, it's not a tournament.
Yeah.
I think going 2 games down with 5 to play is going to be too much.
Is there a break after the 6th game? Is there a bigger break?
No,
It just continues. It doesn't move anywhere else, right?
I think it's all in the same place.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the 6th game, isn't
The
it?
ski resort in Sochi.
Yeah, this is the 6th game today,
Sorry, this is
and the next game is on Monday.
So there's no big break because normally you used to have a break right after the middle of the match, and then sometimes it even moved somewhere else. Those are the days.
Those are the days.
Somebody asked me what my elo was on the comments. It's around 2160, guys. So it has been higher, but yeah, we don't have a lot of elo tournaments in the UK, unfortunately.
Also, those pesky juniors.
Juniors with really low FIDE ratings. You know, playing a 1700 who has almost the same rating as you in the national ratings. But you know, you got to play these guys. Nowhere to hide.
Oh yeah, so Carlsen has played King E3, which we predicted.
Yeah, King E3. It's typically on a dark square, so it avoids any kind of bishop checks from C2, for example.
He didn't play Rook E7 check.
Yeah, look, doesn't it? See where the king goes.
He didn't play it. Maybe he can play it next move. I think he can play it next move, but
Petrosian used to do that, not play the most obvious move in the position. That way you could never really tell what he was going to play against you. It's inevitable that the black rook will take the a pawn, so they would have to move anyway.
I don't see any other move apart from Rook takes A2.
Yeah, and then the g pawn was attacked, and the bishop. So we see another pawn coming off.
I'm wondering what he's thinking about. He's not thinking about resigns, is he?
Interesting.
That's interesting.
And again, not the most obvious move. They're both playing like Petrosian.
I see. So he's still pursuing the bishop.
Yeah, with the other rook this time on a8. Yeah, that's a nice move actually. I like that move. But then bishop b2 is the only move, no?
Yeah, presumably not going to sacrifice the bishop for with rook takes h6.
Bishop b2.
Yeah, I think let's look at bishop b2.
Obviously, rook a takes.
I see that now. There's
a2.
Well, now there's rook b1. I see. This is where he throws in the check. So now the king has to block on a6.
Clever.
I was looking at rook b1.
That would lose the bishop.
Yeah, but there's still a check, isn't there, on e7? But then the bishop has to go back to a3. Anyway, so rook e7 check.
And then king a6, most obvious move.
And of course, king a6. Then the bishop's not on prise on a3. No, he then just didn't like Anna's last move, and neither do I. I thought it was quite clever at first, but it's no good, is it?
I like that comment there. I would have had hadn't been for you meddling kids. Somebody watching Scooby-Doo, right?
Yeah. Looks like it.
That's quite funny. Sounds like one of the comments you would make, isn't it, Paul?
Absolutely.
Anti-children move.
So, down to under 10 minutes, so I'm just checking to see what move we're on. And he also claims that we're on move 38, and also
the engine's saying
completely
winning for white.
It's a wipeout.
Oh my!
Nearly 4 pawns.
Oh my word! This is not good, is it? This shouldn't have happened today, should it?
No, but you have to look back at that middle section where white could have taken on g6 and he didn't, and there was all sorts of
very odd,
strange moves before white finally took.
But this is self-inflicted, though. I mean, black basically did it to himself here.
Oh, the clock
right?
stopped. The clock stopped. He's resigned.
Ah dear. That's not good at all. King a6. Should we have a look at that, King a6? I mean...
Well, King a6 and... Oh, sorry, wrong board. Yeah, King a6. Now the bishop's not attacked. So the bishop c2 was just not very good at all.
And then what, rook takes h6 here? Yeah, I can see why he's resigned, actually. Because bishop takes c5 is now on the cards. With the pin.
Oh, bishop takes c5. Oh dear, that makes it... Yes, you're quite correct. That makes it even worse.
Yeah, it's too many pawns, unfortunately. It doesn't matter whether the...
He's going to end up about 5 pawns down if he's not careful.
That is just an implosion here, isn't it? This is totally self-inflicted. I don't understand how Anand has allowed himself to get into this mess.
I'm quite surprised by the last 10 or 15 moves of that game.
I don't get this. I really don't. So where did it go wrong, Paul? Where did it go wrong? Can you put your finger on the exact move?
Well, I mean, we can have a review of the whole game as...
well, the opening wasn't particularly exciting.
Well, but Triff always goes through it, doesn't
all right,
it?
let's have a look. Yeah.
So let's go. Okay, so Anand plays very sharply. He goes for the Sicilian.
Mm-hmm.
And he
this, yeah.
plays...
Open Sicilian.
He plays the can variation. And
that's a sideline almost, isn't it?
I think this is the can, isn't it? Even without Queen c7.
Yeah.
And I think Bishop d3 is normal here. Or Knight c3 as well. Bishop d3 stops... doesn't walk into the pin.
Carlson's played this before, though, isn't he?
My cousin goes for c4, which is quite double-edged.
Yeah. Moroshi
bind type position.
Yeah.
And I don't know the theory here.
Well, bishop b4 is a logical move, though.
Well, bishop b4 does seem logical, but I don't know the theory of these positions.
E-pawn's attacked, so it has to be defended. Avoids double the c-pawns.
And Anand ends up very cramped here.
Check.
Yeah.
After e5. e5 is positionally forced. Otherwise black plays e5. And takes on c3 and then plays e5.
Yeah.
I was expecting f4, but bishop f4 and that d6 pawn.
Mm-hmm.
And
check.
Yeah, and then is this necessary? Was that necessary, that move?
Possibly it's slightly early. But I think it has to be taken.
Because you've got weak dark squares on the queen side. Anyway.
If say white castle's next move,
then rook c1.
Then or maybe even rook c1. Yeah, but then knight if castle's then knight e4 to d6 is horrible. But maybe black could have waited a move because Magnus delayed castling, didn't he, later on?
Right.
H4 is a nice idea.
Yeah.
Starting attack on the king side pawns.
Space gaining.
Gaining space. The rook comes out to h3 to complement his rook a3 of earlier.
He wants to. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But it's difficult for Anand to find squares for his pieces.
Yeah.
Now with the idea of swinging a rook across to g3, maybe the other one to g4.
The famous rook lift.
Famous rook lift. Now c5.
Yeah.
But Anand manages to defend quite solidly here.
Yeah, I saw knight. That was with the idea of g5 in some lines. You know, the pawn on e5.
And now for rook h4, we looked at it. G5 is fine for black because a bit loose.
Yeah.
So Magnus retreats the bishop, and Vishy goes straight for g6.
And that was the only move from what you guys were saying earlier. Yeah.
What was the only move?
Knight takes g6.
Oh, and yeah. Are you listening? Were you? Yeah.
I was listening. Yeah.
Yeah. Knight. Everything else.
Yeah.
Everything else loses. Now rook h5 is another nice move.
Yeah. It was the computer suggestion as well, from apparently. But,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holding e5.
Yeah. He's grinding away, isn't he, Magnus here, right?
Yeah. But now it starts to get slightly mysterious. He starts his rook g4.
Yeah. Another move of the rook.
With the idea of getting the g pawn off breeze.
Yeah. So this move, rook d8.
Now, of course, g3, rook takes d1 is not good.
Yeah, because of the check on f3. Yeah. Okay, so a bit of.
I thought maybe Ian going for a draw here, but now this is where we play the controversial king d2. Won't look at that again. Now, is this pawn weak or strong?
Yeah, it doesn't.
And now mysterious rook d8.
I don't understand that move.
No, I don't understand that move.
Surely there were better moves than that.
I'm not going to go through it in great detail.
I don't
if
like
I
this.
can get this mouse somewhere here.
I don't like the idea.
What
of
does the
this
computer say?
pawn
The
going
computer
to
just
f3.
says bishop takes g6. Exactly.
It's strange, but was this forced or something? Could White build up on the knight in some way? Or
Well, he could. They also suggest rook g3 with the idea of rerouting to h3.
and there's also rook h3 g3 as well, isn't there? Oh, but that leaves the
That leaves e5 on breeze.
e5 on breeze. Right.
But what the computer doesn't suggest, or anybody suggests, is king e1.
There's something wrong here, isn't there? I don't get that move.
I think he must have played this move, but it's a
The press
mystery.
conference is going on now, isn't it, Paul? Magnus is commenting on it on king d2, and is unhappy with that. So they must be going through the. The game.
So it looks like Magnus did actually play king d2.
Well, neither of them saw this knight takes e5 move then.
It does look like that from the commentary I'm seeing there. It looks like
Yeah, look, he's talking about missing knight e5. That's a bad oversight though.
I mean that's match.
Anand said he didn't unwrap the gift. Wow, that's a massive omission from Anand. Massive omission.
So basically, Anna would have won if he played
That's not going to do any good
knight
for his
takes e5.
confidence.
Instead, he's lost, and that's probably the turn match.
That's going to affect Anand more than anything. I would have thought.
That looks like, as I said, the turning point of the whole match. It's got to be, isn't it?
That's very strange. That I don't understand that. These guys are so good tactically. How do they miss that?
In football, that would be a 6-pointer.
It's missing an open goal, isn't it? It'd be
It
the
is.
same as missing an open goal.
Incredible. And then we get with these various moves.
This whole plan with a3, moving the pawn to a3, I don't like that at all. Why give yourself a weakness on a3?
Well, he's just trying to get counterplay.
Check.
Dreadful.
But now it's just gone. And the a-pawn goes as well. And that's a blunder as well, I think.
Check.
And it's all over.
It just completely collapsed.
It said he played yo-yo with his king and didn't really know why. So maybe Magnus didn't understand why he played king e1, which is something he has in common with everybody else.
Well, we've heard of the expression "don't rush,"
Yeah.
but that's a little bit too much, isn't it?
But I'm sure there's going to be someone complaining who would say, king e1, this is a move of genius. This is the finest move ever played.
Right.
But Magnus said it was feeling complete panic. Okay.
Not good.
No. So, Lekos, have you got any idea how to close down the stream?
You're asking me?
I know that Casey presses some buttons.
No, I know I've lost.
Okay, we're going to be closing down the stream now if we can work out how to do it. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the commentary. Bye bye.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Whereabouts? Well, we're on the events list. Do I need to go back again? I'm seeing events at the moment with all the list of games. I don't see anything that says stop streaming. Truth, I don't see anything that says stop streaming. Yeah, I've got 8 events in front of me. New live event on the right. There's yes, exactly. Oh, yeah, live control room. Yep. Okay. All right. Stop streaming. Click that. Okay. Alright.